From Jurassic Park Jeeps to Buster Keaton's trains, there are a lot of movie props that have ended underwater. The first one is Herbie the Love Bug. In the movie Herbie Goes Bananas, Herbie is on board the Sun Princess. This ship was pretty famous in its own right. It was launched in 1972 under the name The Spirit of London, and then in 1974 it was purchased by the Princess Cruise Line. The next year, they shot an episode of Columbo on board the ship called Troubled Waters. It also appeared in a 1975 episode of Starsky and Hutch. Now, it appeared extensively in the first third of the movie Herbie Goes Bananas. If you've seen the movie, you know that Herbie befriends a boy named Paco, and they get into a little bit of trouble on the ship, and so the captain of the ship, played by Harvey Korman, Captain Blythe, orders that Herbie walk the plank. So in this scene, they actually push Herbie right into the ocean. Now, some people say that this was a fiberglass shell with a wooden interior. Other people say that it was truly a real Herbie, but either way, it would have had many of the parts removed to make it lighter, and all of the oil and gasoline would have been removed before it went overboard. Now, in the movie, Herbie survived this fate and went on to star in many more sequels, but the truth is, that car was sent down to the bottom of the ocean somewhere between California and Bolivia. Now, you may have seen this photo online showing Herbie at the bottom of the ocean with a scuba diver next to him, but this is the bottom of the ocean. This is not near the shore, so a scuba diver couldn't be anywhere near him. This is a car that was found in a lake and somebody photoshopped the 53 onto it. Now, during the credits of Finding Dory, you actually see a Volkswagen at the bottom of the ocean. Some people say this is a reference to Herbie, but they didn't put a number 53 on it. And I feel like if it was, they would have just put the 53 on there, or the stripe, or the ragtop. A little footnote about the ship. It changed owners several times and also changed names multiple times. And then in 2016, it sank off the coast of Thailand. They were able to scrap most of it, but there still are some parts of it that are down at the bottom. Now, Herbie is not the only movie car at the bottom of the ocean. I recently found somebody that had an incredible story.
So when Jurassic Park, the original 1993 film, was getting started for filming, they were intending to ship 4 Jeeps over to Hawaii so that way they could represent the 4 used in the movie.
Right, and in the movie you said they had different numbers and they would renumber the same 4.
So they would renumber the same 3 that showed up there.
Okay.
So that way they could appear to have 4, because one of those Jeeps fell off the ship into the ocean and is now at the bottom of the ocean.
Do we know what general area it is?
Somewhere in the transit, probably from around the Los Angeles area going on out to Hawaii. So we know is that 4 loaded, 3 got off.
Now, when you're talking about movies with a lot of water that involve things sinking to the bottom of the ocean, you may be wondering, what about James Cameron's Titanic? Is that at the bottom of the ocean? And no, this 700-foot replica was built for the film, and they filmed it in an artificial pool just inshore. And then after the movie ended, they broke it into pieces. It was made out of plywood and fiberglass, and it ended up in a dump in Mexico. Now, the prop ship from the 1980 film Raise the Titanic is still around. It's not at the bottom of the ocean because they raised the Titanic in that movie. Actually, in that movie, they didn't know Titanic broke apart in 2 pieces, so it's raised whole as one ship and brought to shore. Really crazy movie. But the prop from it is located on the island of Malta where they did the shooting for that scene. Malta is a place that I have always wanted to go. They filmed the Popeye movie there with Robin Williams, and to this day, the sets from that movie still stand and are part of a Popeye theme park. When they were making the Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah movie Splash, the art director, Jack Collis, wanted there to be a full-size Spanish galleon for Daryl Hannah's mermaid character to swim through. So they constructed a full-size ship in the United States, shipped it to the Bahamas in 2 halves, and then sunk it. And that ship is seen in the film. After the film was finished, you can still go and scuba dive through it. In 1994, Kevin Costner produced the film Rapa Nui. This starred Jason Scott Lee, and it was directed by Kevin Reynolds. As part of the movie, they sank a giant Easter Island head off the coast, and it's still there today. Now, Kevin Costner and Kevin Reynolds also teamed up on the film Waterworld, and that film had an amazing problem. They were filming that in the ocean with an enormous set, and then a hurricane hit the set and sank it very early into production. They built a new one, which I think cost $22 million, which Kevin Costner paid for himself. So that set, the entire set, is at the bottom of the ocean. Dreams of Gold. This was a 1986 TV movie starring Uncle Ben from the Spider-Man movies and Hot Lips Houlihan from MASH. This movie told the story of a diver named Mel Fisher who found the Spanish galleon Nuestra Senora del Altacha. For the movie, they made a replica, and the replica is still down there, but it's deteriorated over the years to where it's just a skeleton. And so scuba divers will swim through this, and they call it the Jungle Gym. 1926, Buster Keaton is shooting the movie The General in Oregon over the Roe River. The big stunt in this movie was the most expensive stunt ever made in a movie and still is the most expensive stunt ever done in a silent movie. For this, they sank a real locomotive into that Roe River. And it sat under the water for many years. In 1941, they scrapped most of it to try to generate metal for the war effort, but there still are some pieces of it that are at the bottom of that river. 1969, The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes features a scene with the Loch Ness Monster in Loch Ness of Scotland. Now, I had heard about this story when I was a kid because they had actually sank the original prop Loch Ness Monster when they were working on the production. And the Loch Ness is apparently such a dark, murky lake, pond, Ness, that they weren't able to get it back out of there. And this became an explanation for why people saw the Loch Ness Monster. The theory was this movie prop floated up to the surface and people saw it, and then it sunk back down. Well, the prop has been under there for decades and decades, but it recently was found. Now, they haven't brought it up to the surface of the loch, but they did find it with sonar, which I find fascinating. They have now done sonar to map every inch of the Loch Ness, which is unfortunate because I liked believing in the Loch Ness Monster, and I feel like the myth has been busted. Huge shout out to Jessica and Michael and everybody else on Patreon. For just $3, I will send you a postcard in the mail every month. There's an interesting connection between Herbie Goes Bananas and the movie Splash, which is fascinating. That mermaid statue would not exist if it wasn't for Herbie Going Bananas. I put all the information on that and a ton of other trivia about that great movie, and I put it in a video that you can watch right here. Otherwise, YouTube says this one is what is best for you. And if you need more content, I got a second channel, so go check it out. And I'll see you next time.